Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. As you can see, I'm still in Colombia and I'm here at Moto Ride Medellin. Today I'm going to do another day ride that heads northeast out of the city, and there's a couple of small towns. I think Concepcion is one of the ones we're going to visit, and also Santo Domingo. So this lap is about 200 kilometers. It's just north of Guatape, which is where I went when I did my first tour with Moto Ride Medellin a couple of months ago. So yeah, we have blue skies. It's looking like it's going to be a sunny day. Should be a great day out, and I'm really looking forward to it. Here we go. It's another beautiful day here in Medellin, Colombia. Blue skies, lemons falling off the trees all around us, and yeah, looking forward to another great day exploring a new part of the countryside here in Antioquia. I'll probably record a little bit of video from the ride out through the traffic, but I think you've probably seen enough of that you kind of get an idea of what it's like anyway. You don't need to see it every time. I haven't really recorded much in the way of sort of chaotic city driving this morning, mostly because there hasn't really been any, which is nice for a change. Yeah, we've basically come out through the city and it's all been pretty fast moving, 60-70 kilometers an hour, and been an absolute joy. So it's a Thursday morning. I think we left about 8:45. Thought we might be catching the end of rush hour, but actually been a pretty chilled sort of ride. So from one of my other videos you thought, blimey, that looks pretty chaotic and terrifying. Not sure I fancy that. Just so you know, it isn't always like that. In fact, today has proved very much that actually the traffic here can be pretty cool. This is a new bit of road that I haven't been on before, so we went a little bit further north up through the town before heading out. Yeah, some of it's kind of similar scenery to the rest of the city, but certainly the hillsides here don't seem to be as densely populated. They also seem to be steeper and higher. You can see all that scenery just up ahead of me. I am still in the city, just kind of a cool place to see. So this here is one of the toll stops, the peages here in Colombia, and they have these lovely little sort of side lanes. Motorbikes can just go around. So for motorcycles, they're all free. I mean, they do limit some motorcycles from going through the tunnel from the airport, which I guess is fair enough because it's long and not very well ventilated. But on bits like this, it's a joy. So that's it, we're off the highways now. We're still down in the valley, so we've been following the Medellin River. And we're now out into the countryside, and the road's still pretty good. You can see where it's been patched up a bit, but the surface is, for the most part, excellent. And it's just this quite sort of lush green scenery. These small towns we come across every now and again. Plenty of palm trees. We've still got these very sort of steep-sided hills either side. Just a really nice place to come for a cruise. As you can see, the traffic's quietened down a lot. We are coming through, I guess it's a town, and I don't think I've seen anything, or hardly anything, come the other way so far. So yeah, just a really chill day. So right now we've turned off the main road. I'm just crossing over what I believe is the Medellin River. Maybe it's a smaller tributary. And this is the road that heads up towards Santo Domingo. So it's been a glorious run down the highway. I mean, it's like really fun, like fairly high speed. I think sort of 130 kilometers an hour, something like that. Ruben did say to me earlier that when we get up into the hills it might be a bit cold. I think cold is relative, and if you're like me and you've come from the UK, the temperature down here in the valley is just really nice. Must be mid-20s. I'm just wearing this rucker mesh jacket with a t-shirt underneath it, and I've been perfectly warm, if anything a little too warm. And now we start the climb, and it said it's 20 kilometers to Santo Domingo. So I think we'll be heading up these sort of fairly small but certainly navigable back roads until we get there. There's a few users up here, other bikes and vehicles. So that's it, we've made it up to the top of this bit at least. And now we've got this very cruisy road, slightly cooler temperatures through the Colombian countryside. You see some quite odd things like that big shed. I guess it's like a big sort of hillside barn and greenhouse maybe on my right. And they've actually built it to fit the contours of the land. Which looks kind of a bit of an engineering nightmare, but looks like they've done a decent job of it. Now we're coming into what might be the first stop, or certainly the first larger town we've encountered on this trip today. That's the town of Santo Domingo. This looks a little bit more developed than some of the places that we've been through, and it's certainly a lot colder. I'm not sure what elevation we're at here, but I will check and probably stick it in the video about here, just to give you an idea of why it's so much cooler. And here we are in Santo Domingo. So that's the first ride done. I think we've only been going for just like an hour and a half, something like that, but it's been quite amazing road, sort of winding up from the valley. Even the traffic coming out of Medellin was pretty quiet today. And right now we're stopped in this small town called Santo Domingo for a coffee break. So it seems to be quite a lively place. You know, you can see lots of people out. You know, there's this cafe behind us, just over my shoulder here. Not too warm, even though the sun isn't out now. It did get a bit cooler coming up the hill as we, you know, climbed up towards this town. So it's just been a short break here in Santo Domingo. So that's it. We just had our quick coffee stop here in Santo Domingo, and now we're going to head on to, I think, Concepcion is the next big town that we're going to come to. I think we're going back down a steep hill. Oh, we are back down a steep hill. But yeah, it's just a really cool place. Yeah, I've been talking to the guys here, and I think I'm going to come back and do a week trip here. You know, maybe a couple of days in Medellin each side, plus 5 days on the bikes, just exploring a bit further afield, getting really up into the mountains and doing some other cool stuff, maybe seeing the deserts. So if that's something you might be interested in, drop me a note. And right away we're onto a gravel road. Now I know this would be considered a green lane in the UK, but here I just think it's just the road. So I'm half expecting for it to be like this for a bit and then suddenly revert back to tarmac, because that seems to be how it's worked for most of the trip so far. So if you've done a bit of trail riding, or even just, you know, bits of competence off-road, then I think you'll find this just really straightforward. I'm only doing about 20 kilometers an hour chugging up here on this AKT TTR 200. Well, I thought we'd get back to some tarmac, because that is how it seems to have worked on the other roads, but so far we're in the back of Beyond, and it's just still been these gravel roads. But they've all been quite passable. I've seen one truck, a couple of motorcycles. You know, if you've had a bit of experience riding trails, I'm sure all of this, you just take it in your stride. Well, that road wasn't going anywhere, so I've just spun it around. I'm going to head back up. Apparently the nice lady came out and said that there was another way round, so we're going to head back up this track, which is a little rougher. You can see why the road was washed out. Maybe they've had a lot of rain down through here, but we're going to head back up here and find another road. Oh, here we go. This looks fun. Yeah, not a proper adventure unless you get to some proper single track. I guess where that landslide has happened over there, I'm guessing we go around that. Now Ruben's just going to come down, get through this bit. I tell you, these aren't the ideal tyres for mud, but we can all get through. See if I can stay on the road. Ah, it's not too bad. They've actually put some concrete down through this bit. It's just the muddy tyres that are slipping a bit on it where it's wet. This bit down through here looks particularly fun. Oh, losing the front wheel a touch. Nothing too bad. Can get up this bit, over that bit, and another little bit up through here. Looks like it's an interesting hairpin. Back end is slipping. Off we go. Oh, on a river. It's always good fun. Oops, oops. And we're up and out the other side. Let's see if we can get up this bit. Ah, no problem at all. And we're off again. We're not at Concepcion yet, but after that rather fun little detour around where the road had been washed away, we've just stopped on the gravel road here just for a bit of, well, is it sightseeing? I don't know, appreciating nature. So we're in the back of Beyond somewhere, about 1,600 metres altitude, on a little lane. I mean, we've not seen a lot of traffic coming through just because, well, the road was washed out, so I don't expect anything bigger than a bike will get through that. And there's this quite remarkable waterfall just over my shoulder, in the middle of the jungle. I mean, we still have some blue sky up there. It is kind of, well, it's clouded over a little bit, but just really, really spectacular scenery. I mean, I think this is maybe what you don't get if you just go to Colombia and you go to one of the beach resorts or you go to one of the cities. But it really is a stunningly beautiful place and really accessible by motorcycle. And off we go again. It's definitely all jungle up to the right. There's a patch that's been cleared on the left. There's a few cows grazing as we head up this valley. We're on a paved road for a bit, but this paved bit is just just for this bridge, and then we're back onto the gravel again. And on these rough roads it is nice to see that there is some more conventional modes of transport, even though that mule or horse probably isn't having a lovely time of it. So we're in a small town here called Alejandria. We're not actually going to stop here, but this would be another of the stops for stopping days. This is the main square. We're actually going, oh, we are going to stop.
This is Alejandria.
Okay, yeah.
You want to stop here?
No, we keep going. It's not been that long since we stopped in Santo Domingo, so I think we're just going to keep pressing on and get to Concepcion, where I think we're going to stop for a spot of lunch. It's only just gone noon and it's been quite a leisurely day so far. It has been nice actually riding on some concrete roads for a bit of a change, but yeah, I'm getting bored of it, so I'm sure we'll be back on gravel before too long. As you can see, there are still bikes everywhere and the quality of the road surface is a little mixed. On the way out of Alejandria now, I don't know, I keep mentioning it, but the scenery here in Colombia, up here in the mountains, really is quite spectacular. Yeah, come visit. Now heading back uphill again, back up some switchbacks, and found a cowboy riding a horse at pace with his dog up the mountain. That is most of the morning ride done. We're about 10 minutes, I think, from Concepcion, where we're going to stop for lunch. It's still more of the same sort of stunning scenery, these sort of rocky trails, but they're very passable. I've even seen a few cars, like regular cars, not sort of fancy four-wheel drive cars, just normal cars coming up. Every now and again we get another bit that's a little bit more bumpy like this, but it's certainly nothing that these TTR 200s can't handle. I know that over here they also have a version, Honda 300. It's not a CRF, it's a local South American version. I forget what the designation is, but they're also fairly available here if having a little bit more power is your sort of thing. But honestly, these bikes are so light and so small, I don't think there's anything that I've done in the 3 days riding that I've done here so far where this hasn't really been ideal. Everything from negotiating Medellin traffic to riding up these rocky lanes. Even, you know, they'll do 60 miles an hour on the highways. I mean, yeah, they're under a bit of strain, but honestly, there's not that much highway riding to do here. I mean, there's a bit in the city just to get out, but the rest of it is all, you know, smaller roads where these bikes are perfect. Having ridden on gravel trails for such a long time this morning, it's actually quite nice getting back on a bit of tarmac, just as we sort of glide up through this hill, through these hills, up to Concepcion. I think we're still at about a mile above sea level, maybe even a little bit higher, because it does feel a little bit cooler. But yeah, it's a nice sort of warm down, wind down before a spot of lunch. So here we are. This is the town of Concepcion in Antioquia. So this is our lunch stop for the day. Again, lots of very sort of narrow streets. Big central square, I think. There we go. Quite a dramatic, well, I'm guessing it's either a town hall, maybe a church or something up there. But just, yeah, a really cool place. Well, made it here to the very pretty small town of Concepcion, where we're having some lunch. The restaurant is just over my shoulder near the bikes, but I just thought I'd give you a quick look around so you can see what this place is like. I mean, it's got that sort of old-fashioned Spanish colonial look about it, with these high hills all around. There's quite a big church on the square just over my shoulder around the palm trees. I think we're at about 1,600, maybe even 1,800 meters elevation here. So it's, you know, high-ish, not really high enough for altitude sickness to kick in, but you certainly, like, you know, you're up somewhere. It's beautiful. It's a really cool place. This has been essentially a morning's ride out of Medellin. I think it would be nice to come and do a longer tour here. That was an excellent all-day breakfast that we've had here in Concepcion. A really pretty little town. I think there's lots of these dotted around the countryside here. And it just, you know, it makes these trips. Obviously I'm here for the riding and the scenery and stuff, but to be able to come here and see a place like this is pretty awesome. You know, these houses are all so brightly painted, these narrow little roads, almost like a, you know, little sort of medieval village in the Alps. I'm guessing a lot of these go back to the Spanish colonial times. but to see I think those are vultures who are circling up there overhead, and all these little places, really is quite special. So this is it. This is leaving the town of Concepcion, and we are heading up and into the hills again. I thought we might be heading down after this, but I think we've still got a few big hills to go up before we get back to Medellin. So I think it's about a 2-hour ride from here, so maybe one more stop on the way back. But yeah, looking forward to a fun afternoon. It's just so stunningly beautiful here. It really is. So this is the road still climbing out of Concepcion, and it's just brilliant. It's just an amazing road surface, and it is like riding an alpine mountain pass. You know, just really nice twists and turns all the way up a proper twisty road with this amazing scenery, and we've still got quite a long way to go. Hardly any traffic as well, and yeah, I mean, people travel to the Alps to do this, so you know, why not come to Colombia to try it? I'm really glad actually I've done this ride. I think of the 3 rides that I've done with Moto Ride Medellin so far, this one has been my favourite, and it's been just a nice mix of road riding and also some trail riding, and just the scenery and sort of the heights we've been getting up to. It's not mega high. I know you can get up to 4,000 metres here in Colombia, but most of this I think we've been up to maybe 2,000, 2,200, something like that. So yeah, just coming up to the edge of you know, where altitude sickness might apply. But yeah, it's just stunningly beautiful. Look at this place. Come over the top. We're now on this just really stunning road, sort of winding through these coffee plantations and sort of semi-cultivated jungle. Every now and again there's a little uneven bit like this, but the views, particularly over to the left, which hopefully we'll see around this bend, really are just incredible. You can see the hills in there nearby, and then over to the left, whoops, pay attention to where I'm going. Yeah, they've got the hills just here nearby on my left, and then these sort of big mountains, the Andes, off there in the distance. I know there's plenty of peaks over 4,000 metres here in Colombia, not immediately where we are, but as you get higher up into the mountains. But even still, to come and ride a mountain pass like this, through scenery like this, where it's not even a named pass. You know, if this was in Europe, they'd be charging people to come over it, and it's just a regular road here. I mean, yeah, there are some that are, you know, not quite as landslippy as this, but it is just a joy to ride. So that was a brilliant ride. That really was fun, coming over the top of the hills. I'm now back on the highway, which takes me back to Medellin, and I think this one has been in a previous video. So though it's fun, especially doing some of these roads at speeds, I'm probably not going to show you this again. You can check that out in one of the other videos. But anyway, this has been really awesome. I mean, I think this is my most favourite day of all of them. So what I'll do is I'll record a last little bit into Medellin and then finish up. But yeah, it's been a really fun day. If you're here, I would probably suggest to do this loop if the tourist stuff at Guatape isn't your sort of thing. So actually we've ended up taking a slightly different route back into town. So we ended up near Rio Negro at the airport, which I think is why I recognise the road. And instead of taking the tunnel, which isn't open to motorcycles, mostly for pollution reasons, air quality, we've come over the top. So there's been this pretty fast road. It's quite busy with lots of cars, and there's a toll gate at the top, but there's no tolls for motorcycles. Yeah, and it's been, I suppose, a slightly different way to drop back down into Medellin. I think we actually end up back in Envigado first, and then we'll head across from there. But yeah, again, just these amazing vistas out over the scenery, even if it is a little busier through here. So many bikes. I mean, it's such a motorcycle friendly place. But yeah, I would recommend it to anyone. So heading down the hill now back into Medellin, and as you can see, it's kind of chaotic with all the bikes. It does seem to be a little bit of a free-for-all. I mean, luckily it's fairly quiet. But after a pretty easy run out first thing this morning, nice to have something to sharpen the senses at the end of the day. Now turned off the main road back in Medellin. We have this rather windy, narrow jungle road. We're actually in the middle of the city, but to look around you'd never guess it, other than the traffic. It's like a tiny little mountain road right in the middle of the city. If I get a glimpse through the trees anywhere, you'll probably get an idea about what I mean. But for now, I mean, this probably looks like I am in the middle of the jungle. maybe these crash barriers are a little big for any of the jungle roads. Oh, here we go, back out into civilization. But yeah, that was a really fun run down the hill. Nerves aren't entirely frayed, still doing all right, I think. And we're going to be back at Motor Ride Medellin in a few minutes. Rush hour traffic, I remember from my first visit. Bit of a free-for-all. This is what happens when you come back in during rush hour. It's just really seeing where you can weave through and try not to take out anyone's wing mirror. All good fun. So that's it, made it safely back. I'm back here at Motor Ride Medellin. Yeah, it was just a really fun day out. I think of the 3 rides I've done with them, this one to Concepcion, out via Santo Domingo, and then back in past the airport and down the steep hill into Medellin has been the most fun of all 3. So yeah, it's been really fun. Arrived back safe, even if the last bit through the traffic was fraught as ever. I'm kind of thinking about maybe arranging something with them to do a 5-day tour. So if you think that might be interesting, drop me a note. Hope that's been interesting and useful. If it has, please check out my other content and maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.